on average, people who have a successful unified commerce transformation will see a 14-15% increase in just their overall revenues that will come from the digital channels from their buyers. So it's, and 14-15% for mid-market enterprise grade companies is, as you know, huge as a step.
So I'm really looking forward to speaking to you, Francois, because first of all, we just don't know each other. And, you know, this whole community is so small and incestuous. And I kind of just expect that I know all the agencies, but the reality is there's a lot of companies that have been started over the last 15 years that I don't know about. And we got a chance to, we didn't spend much time together last week, but we got a chance to at least shake hands at the award assembly. So I'm really happy to be able to have this conversation and hear a little bit more about Novatize.
Yeah, likewise, Justin. Thanks for the invitation, and it's been an amazing event. Being part of the B2B e-commerce association is really great so far. So really happy to be speaking with you.
As we were kind of doing our prep, we were talking about this idea. I think it's worth starting for. You guys have done some writing on this as well. We talked about how at the event, a lot of your conversations were less tech focused, but more about executive alignment, customer adoption, change management, more strategic work. Talk about what some of those conversations were like.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And first, I have to say that the event created this context where we were able to have these conversations around something that mattered more than the tools and the processes and what you put in place for achieving B2B commerce goals. And so most of the conversations were around how to align strategically so we can deploy such strategy. And, you know, in B2B, we look at different KPIs, the most important one being often customer adoption rate. And that says a lot, because if you don't have alignment between, let's say, all your locations as a B2B company, if you don't have alignment on different incentives as part of your in the part of your leadership team, and that everything under this follows through, you're not going to be able to deliver that seamless experience. You're not going to be able to have that customer adoption rate. And today we know that 90% of the buyers are ready to change suppliers if you don't deliver that good buying experience online. So it becomes critical to be able to do that. And it really starts with this strategy. So I was happy to be able to talk about that, because afterwards, I mean, the technology is there to support it, but it really begins with that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think almost in every conversation, when you kind of get past the first couple layers of the conversation, the real issues across the industry, big companies, small companies, really doesn't matter, is this idea of executive alignment and customer adoption. I think what's interesting is that people kind of put those in a bucket that are like unachievable, right? Like they put it in a bucket that's like, yeah, those are my core problems, but I don't know how to solve it. And it feels like too big of a problem. So like, let's not address it. So they move on to the things that are easier to solve. Like technical things are just easier to solve than people problems are, right?
Yeah.
Change management is. And I think what happened at that event last week was, because we called it out and named it, you know, very early in the conference, we named it as a problem. Then we named it as a problem that has solutions. I think it sounds like it opened the door to a lot kind of more richer conversations with the practitioners.
Yeah, it did actually. And, you know, it can be perceived as a very overwhelming problem, because we're talking alignment with executive teams. So people who have an important role in the company. But actually, going forward, I think a lot of companies put these strategies in place. So we're starting to get great case studies across the market of people who have put this in place. And I feel like bringing some examples of what you can do once you align all the strategic team and you're able to have each of your different P&Ls working for the same organization, this is where you get a win. And often this is what really is the most important blocker. Is you have all these different P&Ls in the business. They all have the individual incentives, but they're not aligned to a common corporate goal. And this is where you can get everyone working together, and then you can align inventory, you can align catalogs. I'm getting a bit technical here, but you can align
No, absolutely.
everything together so you can deliver the best experience possible to your buyers, to your customers.
How do you guys approach some of those bigger business problems versus technology problems with customers?
Yeah, so what we like to demonstrate actually is we put together, what if you were able to align everyone on contributing to the organizational goal? What would your catalog look like? What would your customer experience look like? Am I able to order from the whole catalog from the organization, have the best prices, and have it delivered for pickup near me at my closest distributor in less than a week? Versus right now, what usually happens is you have a restricted catalog, you have ETAs that are very long, and you don't have them in hand when you want them to. So this is where, when you come down with some concrete examples like this, and you can actually show what your customers could have as an experience, then we work our way up to the strategy, and it becomes quite obvious that you need alignment in terms of organizational goals, so incentives that are not siloed between locations and P&L. So you just really have to work your way up from a seamless experience that you can show to a company who has these challenges.
Yeah, and they're not quick fixes either, right?
And no, they're not.
These are like long-term things that take programs
Yeah.
to get it across. I mean, I I I, I was reading this probably a couple months ago. I was reading the story of Chick-fil-A and how do you have Chick-fil-A? And
We have in Toronto. We don't have in Quebec, but we have it in Toronto. We got it.
all right, all right.
I love Chick-fil-A. Don't worry.
For everyone listening, Francois and Novatize are from Canada. Um, the so he picked up that phrase "my pleasure" while staying in a hotel, and they talk about how it took 7 years to roll out "my pleasure" to all of their locations. Right, 7 years, two words, two words. Now the most iconic phrase in fast
Yeah.
food, without a doubt. Right, and it took them 7 years to roll it out. So when we think about these change programs, I think e-commerce is part of a larger like digital transformation. When we think about that, we're talking about campaigns and programs that take years to really kind of instantiate and run through the DNA of an organization.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And it's, as you said, it's just, you have to ignite, to have that spark at the beginning. Everybody has to understand the benefits that rolling out, well, the my pleasure thing is really a good example, because it's simply put, but to have as I was talking, the experience that you want to deliver to your customers, if everyone in your organization is can have this in mind while they're crafting the strategy, while they're crafting the transformation and the organizational change, well, it aligns everybody on the same goals. But it is a long roadmap that you have to go through. It demands everybody on board, organizational change, but it's doable, you know.
You in your on your website, you guys mentioned this quite a few times. You guys mentioned this idea of unified commerce. It's kind
Yeah.
of a phrase repeated over and over from you. I think it was on your banner too, at the conference.
Yeah.
Talk, like what does unified commerce mean to you, and why is it an important idea?
Yeah, thanks for the question, because actually I think it's a concept that, well, it did originate more from Asia than Europe and then the Americas, and it was more towards retail operations at its core, because we were thinking more about inventory movement, locations. It's the natural evolution of omni-channel. So the main concept here is to be able to start a buying journey somewhere and finishing it elsewhere, and having access to the entire organizational catalog wherever you are, and being able to pick up or deliver what you need anywhere. So it's this whole idea that you need everything, of course, connected. But when we're talking strategy, and especially in unified commerce, what it means, and I can have a sort of an example like this. But if we're imagining like a tooling distributor who we've worked with, and they sell to all the regions in the US, and as a client, I want to be able to start my buying process on my phone. I want to be able to pick up my drill and my helmet at the nearest location. So it sounds easy, but it means you have, well, the incentives in place as a strategy level, but then as the technology, you have a good OMS with the with the rules set up, so you can get your inventory moved very quickly and accurately between locations. You need to have store leaders or managers that want to do this, so to be able to take some of their inventory and move them elsewhere, not in their own store. So there's this whole idea that everybody needs to work together to be able to make this inventory or catalog very dynamic, so that the customer gets exactly what they need at the end of the day. So it's it sounds easy as an idea, but then afterwards, when you go in the strategy, in the technology, well, it's a bunch of alignment there, and you need the right tools, you need the right rules, you need the right processes, and the people need to collaborate on this. So it's a transformation, but we see it a lot in different retail companies. We've seen it in B2B companies as well, big distributors across the world. So it's very durable, and on average, people who have a successful unified commerce transformation will see a 14-15% increase in just their overall revenues that will come from the digital channels from their buyers. So it's, and 14-15% for mid-market enterprise grade companies is, as you know, huge as a step. So
I think that so many times when we think about customer experience, we relate that to user experience. Like we automatically think customer experience is some digital PDP
yeah,
website type thing, instead of customer experience being like all the touch points along the way that a customer experiences with us, right? Like
yeah,
online, offline, digital. And I think I like what you're talking about, getting all the people and parts of the organization working together and having that unified as well. I think that's really interesting.
yeah.
You you guys are an agency. Is that how you would term yourself, an agency versus
We'll say a
integrator? How
professional
would you call
commerce
yourself?
firm, but we can say agency. We're a system,
How'd you call it? Wait, say it again.
a professional commerce firm.
A professional commerce firm. That's a good marketer there. As a professional commerce firm slash agency. No, I'm curious if you've had thoughts about what, how agencies are shifting.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about stuff like this enough. I mean, the
Nope.
fact is that if you're a practitioner, your partners matter,
Yeah.
and knowing where that professional commerce provider agency, what direction that is moving, I think is pretty important. And if you're a solution provider, your partners are important. And obviously, if you're part of an agency, what do you guys kind of see that whole world shifting to?
Yeah, let's get into that. I actually have quite a few things to say about that, because I feel it's really important to gauge, like, well, the whole landscape and see where this is going. And as you said, for practitioners to know who to hire for their project is really important, because nowadays, with all the vendors that are, sometimes the services can feel like a commodity because you can do a lot internally. So you need people who are really experts in their fields. So first thing I would say is the agencies are really specializing in some verticals that we could say, but I see B2B as a vertical. I see B2B as another vertical, B2C as another vertical. B2B will work, as we said earlier, on the customer adoption rate. This is really game changing, and it's completely different than agencies who
Yep.
specialize in DDC and B2C, because they will work on customer acquisition, on marketing data, and they will minimize the investment in technology, which is fine because you will invest more in marketing and you will use tools like Shopify for say to get you up and running, and then invest on bringing in more customers. So agencies who specialize in B2B, working on customer adoption rate, we will work a lot on having as little to none of friction points for the customer experience for your buyers, because losing a buyer is way it costs way more than acquiring a new client, well, either in B2C or B2B, or in B2B it's just exponential. So you don't want to lose that buyer, so you do have to invest a lot to have a seamless experience. And we talk a lot about unified commerce, but when we're talking seamless experiences, can I select the correct product and go into the entire checkout process with my negotiated terms, prices, and delivery, without having to call a rep or without having to do some kind of manual operation, and do it really seamlessly? And this is really important because afterwards, if you don't have this experience and you change supplier, it's really damaging for a brand. So it's two completely different ways of thinking, and it goes to who you're hiring as an agency. So your talents are not going to be the same people. You're not going to have as many ad specialists or people looking at the same dashboards when you deliver a project. So you need people who have the right business KPIs in mind and who craft the experience for the good reasons as well. So it's really a different mindset, and I see that until like maybe 5 years ago, people could do both pretty easily, but now it's a little bit more segmented.
I would argue that people didn't do it well.
Yeah,
You can do it, but you can't do it well. I think the other way to look at that is, in customer acquisition, when you look at the funnel, a customer, like you have all these prospects up here, and then out the bottom, my camera is following my hands. Out the bottom pops a customer, right? The customer comes out the bottom.
yeah,
In a customer adoption funnel, the customer starts at the top. Like you're working with an existing customer, a customer a customer that's purchased from you, that you have a relation. You might know where they're going on vacation this summer. You might know where their kids go to college. Like the funnel at the top is a customer, an existing customer that's spent potentially thousands or maybe millions of dollars with you over X amount of time, right?
yeah.
So I think you're right. The skills of people and the technical skills that you need and kind of the knowledge you need is different for those two groups. How do you find and source those people, knowing that people are kind of your key asset as a commerce, what'd you call it?
A professional commerce firm, or we could do an agency.
No. I'm gonna do it until I remember it.
And yeah, so no, that's a good question. Well, we do have a really great training program, and we leverage our partners training program as well. So that's first, because there's no university for B2B commerce. Of course, there are some programs out there, but there's no like dedicated. And I feel like the association is there for, yeah, exactly. So the association is there for this, so that this is incredible.
Yeah.
So actually, it's now become part of our onboarding process. So you will have a few courses from different trusted vendors, such as the association, such as Shopify, who does so as well. And so people will pass through an extensive program to learn about the differences between B2B and B2C, because people are exposed in their daily lives to B2C experiences. When you buy on Amazon or any retailer, you're exposed to a B2C experience, but you have to learn what's the difference with the B2B experience. So we will have some extensive training programs on this, but you will have more for say a solution engineer in a B2B agency than you will have in a B2C agency. You will have more backend engineers. You will have more business analysts. So the types of people you will hire differ a bit in terms of the team composition that you will bring to the table for a client, for example.
What are your suggestions to people looking for agencies? Like, what are your suggestions to them for making better agency decisions?
Yeah, so I would advise that, well, crafting, of course, an exhaustive RFP with all you think that you well all the business requirements that you think are foundational to your success. So that's first. But then I would ask the agency to summarize or to explain to you what they think the business needs are, what they understand from your requirements, and what would be their measure of success, like at the launch, 3 months after the launch. So really to understand, do they understand where they can bring the more value? So because if what you want is to retain your customers because your customers are complaining on the experience and you don't want more customers at the end of the day, well, it's not your main metric. If the agency tells you that they're going to run ads or do email marketing campaigns to go reach to do lead nurturing, maybe that's not your core focus. So just to ask more of their understanding will tell you a lot. And then I think that especially in B2B, to have visuals of what the processes, the operations, and the technologies will look like in this project, in this journey to having your commerce evolved. I think they should be able to do that pretty accurately and give you an idea, and this will also validate their understanding of your project.
So last week I got to have the honor of announcing the winners of there was two agency awards. One was kind of small and mid-size, and one was large agencies. And I got to announce the winner, and I got to announce Novatize, your
Yeah.
company, as a
Yes.
winner. So congrats on that.
Thank.
It's pretty fun. I think we definitely want to do more agency and vendor type awards. I think those are fun. It was very competitive too. I was really surprised afterwards how many calls I got afterwards from people saying, "Hey, I kind of want to win that award next year. What do I got to do?" Um, and I felt like sending them my Venmo, but that wasn't going to work. So that
Nice.
doesn't work, everybody. That doesn't work. No, but congrats on that. Tell me a little bit about how you started Novatize. How long,
Yeah.
like when did you start it? What's kind of been the evolution of the agency itself?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks so much. So we started back in November 2014. So precisely.
Oh, you're 11 years.
Yeah, 11 years. So been doing this. And what's funny is at when we were founded, we were a B2B, well, we still are, of course, but we were at the time already a B2B e-commerce agency because our first clients was in school supplies. And so we had to do complex rules and it was,
Wow.
yeah, sort of a process. And we were working on some more uh, custom made technologies and Magento technologies and things like that. So we had at the foundation, we had a lot of engineers working to streamline these platform experiences. And so then came around Shopify, who we've worked with a lot, and I think that they've taken a huge part of the market in retail. Well, they did take a huge part of the market in retail. So we did a lot of this, and this, well, it was really a great journey to do this with Shopify and still doing this with Shopify because they deliver a platform that is really reliable. So we didn't have to manage servers anymore. We could really talk more about strategy and experience and then yeah, yeah, that we've talked about. So crafting the best experience possible for the merchants, but it was more retail aligned. So we've had this for a couple of years, and then we doubled down back on B2B, like I would say 6 years ago, where uh, Shopify became more and more capable of handling complex needs in the B2B context. So So yeah, they've been a great partner, as you can understand, for the business. So this is how we've evolved. We're a team of 60 people in North America, and we don't have specific verticals. So for us, if a merchant has complex needs, they have complex business rules in terms of pricing, catalogs, locations. They want to sell internationally, so they have to manage currencies, different laws and regulations. So we, I won't say that we've seen it all. We always see something new on each project, which is really fun. But I think we've seen enough so that we can help a wide range of different situations that merchants can have on modernizing their commerce infrastructure.
Do you guys handle everything? Are you full service? You handle creative, user experience, and tech?
Creative will have partnerships or work, so especially in B2B, because they don't always have creative internally, so we
Yeah.
can support them with this definitely. Depending on the volume, we have partnerships, so we're able to also handle that. We'll do the strategy, we'll do also performance marketing. So we were talking a bit about that earlier, but if they do need lead capturing, nurturing strategies, because as we know, the funnel is quite different from B2C, we'll do this as well. So yeah, we are a full service agency in that matter.
Very good. When did you do your first e-commerce website? What year?
First e-commerce website,
Before all the agency stuff.
agencies. Well,
Unless you
think
did, unless you
no,
said
you're gonna beat me, but I think it was like in 2008. It was quite
yeah.
late. It was quite late.
Yeah. I built my first e-commerce website in 99
Wow.
on a technology called Able Commerce, which was Cold Fusion,
Okay. Nice.
which was a cold fusion. So I came out of school as a developer, and then I started my own company in 1999. I did it for Harry London Chocolates in Canton, Ohio. We launched it November 15th. Actually, that's crazy. November 15th. And in 30 days it paid for itself. And I decided at that point, like, this is my career. Like, I'm doing e-commerce. Like, if we have a project that can pay for itself in revenue in 30 days, then of course I wasn't charging enough too. I mean, that's part of why I paid for
Yeah,
it.
we all do this mistake, but you got to get started somewhere. So
No, you do. I just think I just think kind of the progression of technology, because Able Commerce was basically just kind of a framework,
right.
and then you had ATG and Magento and Shopify. Just like the tools that are available out there right now are just they're just unbelievable, aren't they?
Yeah, they're unbelievable. I mean, I remember at the time we had to host everything. You needed to do an upgrade. It was crazy. You had to upgrade the whole system, and yeah, you had to make so much that wasn't in the platform already. So the custom part of each project was huge. And now, I mean, no, and now we're at a time where there are these AI tools that enable merchants to do like much more of the work by themselves without coding and just crafting experiences as they have it in their head. So no, it's crazy. And we're talking from my perspective 2008. So this, yeah, it's not that long ago. So it's crazy.
I had this yeah, last night I was kind of working on something. I had 20 like 18 spreadsheets. Each spreadsheet had 1,000 lines on it. I needed to process it, so I needed to like group all the spreadsheets together, merge the data, and then I needed to run a bunch of stuff on it. And within a few minutes, I had combined the spreadsheet and was asking queries on this. I mean, literally, would have taken me that that process, just me copying and pasting. Like, forget about anything. Like, copying and pasting from one Excel spreadsheet to another would have taken me, because there's multiple tabs, so I had to identify the right tab to copy and paste from. It would have taken me hours to do 20 of them.
No, I mean it's crazy, and sometimes I have this scenario where it's not even like how much time it would have taken me; it's how many people and it would have taken to form a team to do something. Like,
That's right, and explain it.
yeah, And we see it a lot in commerce in two different scenarios for say, for example, in PIM, so in product information management, uh, people don't have their data structure. So they have, especially in B2B, they have all their data from different suppliers. When you're a distributor, it's not all formatted correctly. It's the kind of job that no one wants to do
No.
inside your organization. So you dump it all, you output to the specified format you want to, and then you enrich your data with this. So this is actually a really valuable quick win that an organization can do with AI.
What's your focus as a company? Do you have specific industries that you guys have focused on within B2B? Manufacturing, distribution, both, and industry related?
We've done both. We've worked a lot with toolings company.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, yeah, toolings, industrial materials. I would say those are probably the two biggest. We've
Mm.
with OEMs also, aftermarket parts companies. But these would be the main ones. Now, what we see a lot is manufacturers who are I don't know if that's correctly said, but project-based companies. So they'll do a custom projects, let's say
Yeah.
opening a factory, but after that they have to service like the parts for it, but the services also. It may come from directly from them. It may come from different suppliers. It may come in drop ship mode or not. And so all these different models, we're starting to see them because they have this department internally that's just for parts and services, and they want to automate that part, that department. So we see a lot of this in the community right now, and because it's often 15, 20, 25% of a business revenue. So it can mean a lot at the end of the year. So, but yeah, I would say toolings, OEM, industrial materials, and that would be the biggest verticals for us.
Any words of like if someone's out there, like what type of customer, type of manufacturer, distributor, with what type of problems should reach out to you guys?
Yeah, so we've talked a bit about it earlier, but the strategy is a good one, especially if you have um, different locations that are servicing different types of customers, and you don't have everybody aligned. So we've worked for to do some transformations for businesses who've had this problem, so we can help with that. Um, we can help if you have legacy technologies and you're not quite sure how your systems are going to integrate together. Oftentimes, one of the pain and or one of the fears that manufacturers or distributors will have is they have to upgrade their whole infrastructure, their whole ecosystem to make sure that they can go to the next step. And that's often not true. We can work with what you have and deliver at least an MVP or something that is gonna, as you said, deliver an ROI pretty quickly.
Mm.
So this is something we can do. So I would say if it's a technological problems and you think that well, you want to know how you can modernize without having to do the whole thing, we're going to be able to help a lot on that and the strategy, as we said earlier.
So I think when I was looking through your website, I saw a lot about spine.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the things that it stood for, but you talked about being a B2B accelerator. Can you talk about that and like what's the reason to create it?
Yeah, so we've been a long time partner of Shopify, and so Shopify, as we know, they offer a really solid foundation so that merchants can focus on delivering more value to their customer. So they'll offer the checkout, the customer accounts with a B2B. A B2B structure as well, like companies, locations, buyers, and everything. But there are some things that we've seen that come from time to time from a merchant to another in the
Yeah.
B2B context, and some patterns that we've identified. So Spine is just really the result of years of working with complex B2B challenges and bundling those together to be able to offer a faster time to market to B2B companies. Because sometimes we're talking about a year and a half of rollout for a project in a commerce for B2B, and we're able to short that to 4, 6 months to have something out there that's pretty decent for and I would say exceptional for for their buyers. But quickly, Spine, it will elevate the customer experience in B2B for Shopify. So for example, you have buyers at different companies, but you won't have out of the box approval flows. So what Spine will do is it will bring the whole logic of approval flows for your buyers. And I was giving this example earlier, but we have a school supplies company as a client. So imagine the teachers that are trying to order online, but they don't have the decision power to be able to complete the purchase. And sometimes it's within their own school, sometimes it's within an association. So we had to develop the whole approval flow so they can do their purchase list, but then somebody else approves the transaction. So this is the kind of thing we do. Inventory per location as well, but lead time per product, depending on where you're ordering from. So this is something you don't really have out of the box. So we've bundled these different types of things into an accelerator, and depending on your context as a merchant, do you use an OMS? Do you use your ERP for your inventory, for example, or you have a different system? Well, we can modulate that and interact with the different systems to deliver the best experience without having to always start from scratch, for example.
Amazing. I love that. I think, well, you're also limiting what you have to customize and build. What is your opinion on, like creating things that match exactly the process the company has today and kind of digitally replicating process versus trying to fit into what's out of the box? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, on our end, our philosophy is you have to limit as much as possible the technical debt you're gonna create trying to match the exact process at the merchant. So, it's always a conversation because some processes are really important and you can't change those in the organization. They're foundational to their business model. So even if it's unique to this organization, you have to respect that. So this is where you'll have to do the whole custom part, and you have to accept that. But then there are these processes that you have good practices in the market and that you're able to discuss with the merchant and just to try and bring the value of these processes and then to change management. Sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes it's not. So it's still a conversation to have between organizations to see if you have to do the whole custom thing. But I would say that the tools now evolve so quickly that there's less and less situations where you have to do everything custom. So I would say it's start with what's out there, and try to do as much as you can with the out of the box functionalities, and then you look at what you need more in terms of your specific needs. But usually there's something out there that will do 80% of the work, and then you can focus on 20% that's left.
Francois, thank you so much. This is amazing. First of all, congratulations on the amazing award that you guys did win. Next year, we'll create an award category for professional commerce. For the agencies. I love it. And no, I love meeting new people that actually understand this industry, and really looking forward to watching what you guys do. And let's do a couple more of these with you and other people inside your organization. That's great.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Justin. And really, the association is so great. Thanks for your implication in this. I feel like it's bringing a community that needed these moments and this platform to collaborate together. So it's really fun and exciting to be a part of this.
Yeah, we're trying, and we appreciate the partnership.
Of course.
Manufacturers, distributors, leaders in the zone. If you're building B2B, this the podcast throne. The industry's heartbeat, we're setting the tone. Turn insights to actions, it's how empires are grown. We're talking change management, breaking resistance. Strategies so sharp, they redefine persistence. Customer adoption, it's more than retention. It's building a movement, commanding attention. It's the B2B e-commerce show, where the vision is clear and the strategies glow. From the top of the globe, we're the pros who know. Turn the volume volume up loud, it's time to grow. We bring news, big topics, insights to spark. From the boardroom's glow to the warehouse dark. Digital transformations, the path we're paving, helping you lead through the change you're facing. This is more than a podcast, it's the industry's voice, giving you the tools to make the right choice. No fluff, just facts, no hype, just action. The show where solutions are more than a fraction. It's the B2B e-commerce show, where the vision is clear and the strategies glow. From the top of the globe, where the pros who know turn the volume up loud, it's time to grow.
This is your guide to the digital race. Practical advice, no time to waste. So tune in, gear up, and let's own the space. It's the B2B e-commerce show, the industry's base. The industry's base. The industry's base.